All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Could one of my favorite 49ers possibly be returning to the Niners? Oh, man, I hope it's true. We'll talk about that coming up next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Go get the brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them Larry Krueger sent you. We're also brought to you by Marin Autoglass, 415-883-3030, as well as Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. And in the month of February, which it is still the month of February for one more day on this leap year, February the 29th, we are brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. We're also brought to you by valleyhillroofing.net, 209-481-6851. The websites are all linked in the description. Who are you talking about when you say that you want a favorite 49er to come back? My man, Aziz Al-Shaair. Al-Shaair. There's a lot of different pronunciations, but Aziz is the guy, man. I've loved this guy for a long time, man. Chris Kiffin found him at Florida Atlantic, where he had over 400 tackles, and he was a great Niner linebacker, and they let him walk last year. And I think letting him walk was a mistake. I said it at the time. Why let this guy walk? He was making very little money. He didn't get a huge deal. He got a 1-year, $5 million deal to go play for Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans. And now Dre Greenlaw's got the Achilles, and Aziz was at the Packer game on the sideline. So he's very much emotionally connected to the Niners. And I don't know what it's going to take to get him. Maybe 8 million, 9 million, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that range. It's going to take to get Aziz back, which is a lot of money, but I think I would do it. Why? Because he fits their D, he fits their culture. The other linebackers in that room, Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, look at him as an equal. He is an equal. He was awesome this year. And today on his social media, you say, why are we talking about this today? Today on his social media, Aziz Al-Shaair posted his interception of Kirk Cousins from way back in 2021. Maybe feeling a little nostalgic about being a 49er. But, man, Aziz is the man, and I hope they do go get him. I'd love to see it. 6'2", 230, born in Tampa, moved back and forth between Tampa and Saudi Arabia, where his father worked as an English instructor as a young kid till his parents divorced. He lived in Section 8 housing. He's gone through a lot of tough stuff. I mean, he really has. He became homeless as a sophomore in high school. After his home burned down. Everybody knows the story by now, but he saved his family from a house grease fire. And here he is, 26 years of age, after 1 year in Tampa. He played 2019, 20, 21, and 22 with the Niners, 4 years. 23, he played with the Titans, and he was awesome. And this guy's been awesome forever. He was first team All-Conference USA going back to 2017. He was just a great player in college, and Chris Kiffin brought him to the Niners. And, I've done a number of interviews with him through the years, and I just love this guy. I mean, he loves to play. He loves to run. He loves to hit. He knows the defense, and he is a phenomenal under-the-radar linebacker. And I'm sure Tennessee wants to retain him. I guarantee you Rand Carthon's like, Aziz, we'll pay you. Stick around. But is his heart in sticking around there, or does he want to come back to the Niners? I will say this. Taking out his game log from this year, it's just an amazing thing when you look at what he did this year. I mean, the guy is just always incredibly productive. I mean, there's just no way around that. He's just a productive football player. He had 2 sacks on the year, but he had 163 tackles. 6 against New Orleans in week 1, 8 against the Chargers in week 2. And, I mean, and he's just a tackle for loss monster. He's always making tackles on the other side of the line of scrimmage. 9 tackles against the Browns, 9 tackles against the Bengals. Then we get into October, 15 tackles, 7 solo against the Colts. Then we get into the game on in mid-October against the Ravens. I think it might have been out in London. 15 tackles, 9 solo. The next week against the Falcons, 11 tackles, 7 solo. The next week against the Steelers, 10 tackles, 2 solo. Do you see where I'm going? And then he had a couple games where he was under 10 tackles, and then here we are, December 3rd. The real football players come out to play in December. 12 tackles against the Colts, 8 solo, and a sack, mixed in a sack that day as well. Followed that up with 10 more tackles against Miami, second week in December. Then in the overtime game against Houston, middle of December, 13 tackles, 7 solo. I mean, the guy's really, really a good football player. 8 against Seattle on Christmas Eve. 8 more against the Texans on New Year's Eve day. Final game of the year against Jacksonville, 10 tackles, 7 solo. The guy is just a tackling machine. He reads it. He's got great vision. He's got great desire to run and hit. When you have one guy like this on your team, like a Fred Warner, you've got a pretty good D. When you have 2 guys on your team like this, like you got Fred and you got Dre, man, you got a very good D. You got a very good defense and a really good run defense. When you have 3 guys like this all on one team, you got an incredible D. And that's what the Niners want, and that's what they crave. And if you can bring this guy back, do it. I mean, this guy, he fits your locker room. He fits your culture. When you sign a free agent, there's always the gamble. You're always rolling the dice. Is the guy that we're bringing in from the outside going to fit in? Will he fit in the room, or will guys resent him? Well, you know what you got here. You got a guy who everybody loves. You got a guy who everybody respects. Greenlaw is going to try to make it back from that Achilles, but he suffered the Achilles in the Super Bowl in February. I mean, that used to be a career-ending injury. I got to think it's at least the kind of injury that's going to take away half the year. So you're not going to have Greenlaw at least, you would think, half the year, unless suddenly the return from Achilles injuries is totally different than it used to be. He's not going to be back. He's not going to be there in camp. He's not going to be there in August. He's not going to be there in September. He'll be lucky if he's there in October. I think it's very likely that he's going to miss at least half the year, maybe more. So go get Aziz. Go get Aziz, especially if he's thinking, hey, you know what? I'd love to be a Niner. I mean, you're going to have to pay him, and you're going to have to pay him real dollars. It's not like you're going to get him for some bargain. But I think he wants to be a Niner. I think that's what him on the sidelines against Green Bay really told us. I think he'd love to be a Niner. I think he loves Warner. I think he loves Greenlaw. I think he loves the Niners. I think he missed being here. I think he wants to win a Super Bowl. I think he understands that his best chance to win a Super Bowl is here. I don't think that he ever wanted to leave, but that is the guy to bring back right there. And if they can, they should. And if today's any indication of him putting his interception of Kirk Cousins while with the Niners on his social media, deal, then maybe he wants to come back. So if I'm John Lynch, man, I want physical, hard-hitting defensive players who show up to hit and to win. And that's Aziz Al-Shaair. So I hope they get him. And there you go. That's the extent of this video. I don't know that, there hasn't been any reports say he's coming back. There is no report out there saying that they're making him an offer. I'm just reading the tea leaves and going, this guy was on the sideline for Niners Packers. He was literally in the linebacker huddle breaking them down while he was a member of another team. It might even be against the rules. And now he's posting on social media highlights of his career with the 49ers. go get Aziz Al-Shaair and bring him back. Then at least you can go into the draft not necessarily needing another linebacker. I love Cedric Gray from Carolina. I've been talking him up for months, and I would still like to get Cedric Gray. But man, if you could go get Aziz Al-Shaair and then go concentrate those picks at corner, offensive tackle, offensive guard, defensive tackle, defensive end, it's probably the way to go. So there you go. One man yelling and screaming from his YouTube studio, get Aziz Al-Shaair. Al-Shaair. Aziz, come on back. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to all of our sponsors, and thanks to you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.